Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. It's your girl Adora Christiana, for those who don't know. And I know why you came here. Yep, I know. So let's get right into this eyebrow tutorial. Hey. All right, let's get it. Make sure you stay tuned to see how I go from this to this. And if you want to see more videos like this from me, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now for the beginner friendly method that I use, the first thing I do is conceal my eyebrows. I just use the concealer to go trace over the hairs that I want to pluck away. This method definitely helps me to make sure that I do not over pluck. So that's what you'll see me doing right here. For my next step, I just grab my tweezers and I go ahead and pluck every hair that is covered by the concealer. Just for reference, I wanted to show you guys how fast I pluck in real time before I speed it up. This way you remember to take your time. Do not speed through this process or you will probably be sorry. I tend to start from the tail and work my way towards the base. And I usually go back and forth like 2 or 3 times before I go to the top, just to make sure I got as many hairs as I can. But I don't get too tedious about it because I know that the next step will help out with getting any missed hairs. So once I'm done my first brow, I just put some alcohol, typical alcohol, on a cotton ball and wipe off my tweezers to get all that hair and concealer off before I do the same thing to my other brow. I was getting excited because I was seeing the vision come together, but boy, when I tell you this eyebrow was tearing me up, like there was so much more hair to pluck. My eyes were wanting to water so bad. I was trying to hold it together. Now that I'm finished with this part of the process, I'm going to go ahead and grab my lotion. Any lotion works really, as long as it's not scented. You don't want to do that. But I'm going to take the smallest dab and place it right over top of wherever I put the concealer. This way it plays as a barrier between my skin and the razor. I always start from the bottom when I get ready to shave my eyebrows personally because it's the most intimidating part of my eyebrows to do. So I go ahead and start from the tail and work from the base, just like I did when I was plucking. And I just take my time and go back over it again 2 or 3 times just to be sure I get every hair that I can. While I'm doing it, I shave in a downward motion. And I'll do the downward motion for underneath my brow and when I go ahead and do the top of my brow. The key to this is making sure you are using that concealer to keep you in the lines and keep your eyebrows aligned to the shape that you are going for. First off, let me apologize for the defocus of my camera at this point in the video. But I just have to say, am I the only one who has that better eyebrow? Like, I swear, this eyebrow right here be stepping out. But my other eyebrow, it's like I have to try and train it. And even then, it don't want to listen to me. But I just had to put that out there because I swear, like, I know they say your eyebrows are supposed to be sisters, not twins or cousins or whatever they say. But boy, if I could get them to look like twins, I don't think I'd be upset. Anywho, I'm all done with the shaving process, so I'm just cleaning up my eyebrows with some alcohol. I'll do it once with the pad with alcohol, and then I'll dab them dry with another cotton pad. I like to add a little bit more lotion back to my brow area after I do so, just to make sure I add back that moisture and my eyebrows don't get dry and irritated from all the shaving I just did. Now for my favorite part, I'm going to brush my eyebrows all the way up to the point where they look bushy, because they are. Once I do that, I'll go ahead and grab my scissors and cut away anything that is not in line with my brow. Now, if this is something that makes you nervous, I would keep the concealer on your brows. But for some reason, I like to do it without it because to me, in my head, it makes me feel like I won't cut too much off. I'm not sure if that sounds backwards to other people, but do what makes you comfortable. So here I am doing this. And afterwards, I'll brush them downward and I'll cut them underneath opposed to on the top. I was feeling it already. Did not feel a thing in, but boy, I'm a minimalist and I was so happy with this. Not until I started editing did I realize in this clip you could see the little hairs that I missed from plucking and shaving. But I just wanted to let y'all know that there is some footage I ended up cutting out where I plucked those in the end. So what I'll do is once I fill them in, reconceal them, and basically am done with the whole process, then I'll go back and pluck the little hairs that I see are the outliers. This way I don't over pluck from the jump. I definitely have had some bad experiences in the past where I over plucked or over shaved, and I did not enjoy that. I mean, who would? It was very frustrating. So this is what I do now. I just make sure that I get what I can, and then when they're filled in and I can see exactly how my shape is looking, I'll go ahead and get those excess hairs. As for what I'm doing right now, I showed you guys the shade of powder that I'm using. So yes, I am using powder. This does give me that minimalist, realistic, natural look that I love to go for. So as I apply the powder, I start from the tail to the base. Y'all see a pattern here. And the technique that I use is the overlapping technique, where I start from the tail with the most product. And then once I move to the middle, I'll still start from the closest end to the tail where I ended, if that makes sense. And then I'll add in a little less product, but I make sure to overlap that first amount of product on my brush to the part right where I ended at the tail. This way it gives you that faded look. So then once I go ahead and work my way closer to the front, as you can see right here, I'm starting right where I ended in the middle section and then dragging it towards the front. Once I feel like I have just enough powder to the base of my eyebrow, that's when I'll go ahead and work my way back towards the tail with any of the excess powder on the brush and fill in any extra spots that I feel like could use some product. At this point, I have my tail all blended out. After I added the amount of product I thought necessary, I use my spoolie and I just brush it out, and it helps to blend it a little more and give me that ombre look that I'm trying to go for. So after I do that, that's when I'll move to the middle and continue with my overlapping technique, brush it out again, and I'm working my way towards the base. And voila, I totally felt accomplished at this point, as you can see. So this next part is new to me, very new to me. I'm going to go ahead and use the wax that came in my eyebrow set. I'm just using it to brush it up and hopefully keep them in place. I had somewhere to go after this, so this was kind of like a trial run just to see if this is something I want to continue to include in my eyebrow routine. So I just brushed the actual brush onto the wax, and then I brushed them onto my brow. Say that 5 times fast. After I did that, I just moved on to the next step. Nothing really fancy at this point right here. Here we are, ready to get our eyebrows so crisp. I'm adding my concealer to the bottom and blending it downward towards my eye. And I'll do the same thing to the top of my brow, except I'll blend it upward. Afterwards, you'll see me get my beauty blender and I'll blend it thoroughly. The object for me here is to blend from the bottom up while doing the bottom and from the top down when I'm doing the top. This way I leave a nice little line of demarcation at the point of my eyebrows, so it does give me that crisp look. Since I'm giving it a little bit more time to dry as I'm blending upward at the bottom and then downward at the top, by the time I do get to that line of demarcation, it just gives me a little bit more accent versus if I just went ahead and blended it off the rip while it was wet. It wouldn't give me that crisp look that I'm going for. Look at that. Look at that. Another tip being, once you do get to that line of demarcation, if you know what I mean by that, I keep saying that. But once you do get to that line, you also want to blend a little bit lighter. If you blend with more weight on it, it won't leave you with that nice line that you purposely waited for it to dry for. We did not put all this time and beauty into these eyebrows to let them blow away in the wind or melt away in the heat. So we're going to go ahead and set them with our blending brush and our setting powder and put it wherever there is concealer. This right here is certainly a personal choice, but this is definitely a go-to to add to my minimalist natural look eyebrows, just to give it that little pizzazz. I'm just adding the shimmery shade of my choice underneath my brow bone and just blending it in until it looks perfect. Now, here's just a reminder of what we started with and to what we have got. So pretty, so natural, so effortless. Okay? Like, do you hear me? Now, if you want to be feeling yourself like I'm feeling myself after this, go ahead and try out this routine. See y'all.